On this Sports Monster, the saga of Vic Valducci. In a breaking story, Iowa Tech basketball coach Vic Valducci appears to be on the bubble following recent allegations of recruiting violations used to stranger to criticism, but has been unable to shake nagging rumors involving grade fixing, slush funding, point shaving, drug test altering, the recruiting of the academically unqualified, and connections to the savings and loan debacle that have yet to be explained. Coach Vic Valducci has been suspended, and we are monitoring the unfolding situation at Iowa Tech. Valducci is reportedly refusing to vacate his office. He has also announced, "I will have everyone on this campus, everyone in this state, killed." As they must for all men, taxes have come to Vic Valducci. As the feds press their case against Valducci for tax fraud at a level that would, quote, make your head spin, and Doug Tipper Burns, considered by many the most damning witness in the cases against the ex-coach, has disappeared. Valducci said through a spokesman, if, heaven forbid, something terribly painful and wrong and eventually fatal has happened to Burns, it would not only be a personal loss, but a very interesting lesson. An exclusive look at Vic Valducci on this special edition of Sports Monster. Welcome to a Sports Monster special edition. I'm Nick Bakay, along with future Hall of Famer Joe Bolster and the much-traveled catcher, John Heyman. We will be dedicating the bulk of our program to our guest, embattled ex-basketball coach Vic Valducci, making his first public appearance since May 18th.
I just want to say thank you for the good times. And in these, I'm sorry, this is hard. Okay. And in these, the bad times, I look to my faith, to the love of a good woman, and a guaranteed sneaker endorsement contract to see me through.
Ex-Iowa Tech basketball coach Vic Valducci. Like the proverbial elephant to the blind man, what you make of Valducci depends on which part of his body you squeeze. Hero? Villain? Yes and no. A few simple facts. Marion Vic Valducci was born in Kew Gardens, Queens in 1943. He never knew his father, who was killed by both sides during the Allied landings in Sicily. But Valducci had a surrogate father, the speckled orange inflated sphere, the basketball. The young Valducci struggled as a guard at Syracuse and St. John's, but it was not until later, as assistant coach at Smelterville Community College and then as head coach at Iowa Tech, that Valducci left his indelible mark on the hardwood floor. Although the favorite sons of Skidmark, Iowa, the Iowa Tech Wildebeests were a three-point basket case when Valducci inherited them in 1978. Over the next 10 years, Valducci led a re-energized pack of Wildebeests to the Final Four 3 times and in 1987 to the NCAA Championship. But miracles have a price tag. An ongoing investigation by the President's office is studying the ugly underside of the Wildebeests. Allegations of recruiting violations, grade fixing, point shaving, unethical sneaker endorsing, slush funding, drug test altering, and the sale of dual-use technology to Libya. Add to this a .6 graduation rate among the 10 worst in college sport, and personal health rumors implicating Valducci as patient X in the 1988 Central Iowa chlamydia epidemic.
It makes urinating extremely painful. I burn, I itch, I rash. There's no way in hell I could pee for you. I mean, look, I love my kids. I loved every one of them. If I could have peed for them, I would have. I am physically incapable, okay?
And then one terrible night last May, Iowa's star center for Tumnus, Washington, died from spontaneous human combustion. Valducci was forced out of the Wildebeest program under a cloud. He has been to the mountaintop and been to the valley and skulked through the runoff ditch filled with mud and leaves and broken branches and slugs. But there's one thing that no man has ever called Coach Vic Valducci. and that is quitter. When we return, some hate him, some love him. Now, ex-coach Vic Valducci speaks for himself in a Sports Monster exclusive interview. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Cruex.
At an auction, a man named Trudeau felt a terrible itch down below. As the bidding got hot, he scratched his sore spot and was told he just bought a Van Gogh.
Cruex kills jock itch fungus.
Let's take off our sneakers and get comfortable.
Uh-oh, sneaker odor.
Let's go to the movies.
Tame ferocious sneaker odor with Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters. Springy insoles with activated charcoal, the world's most powerful odor destroyer. Sneaker Tamers has it. This Schultz doesn't. Sneaker Tamers absorb sweat, destroy sneaker odor, guaranteed for the life of your sneakers.
No more sneaker odor.
Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters.
It's amazing what these kids know.
Well, they don't know everything. Like this sugar-sweetened Kool-Aid's got less sugar than Coke or Pepsi.
Less than Coke or Pepsi?
25% less.
Really?
It's 25% less sugar!
They know everything.
Having kids means having Kool-Aid.
When the class bell rings, your child becomes my child, too. So I'm going to do everything I can to help that kid succeed. But I can't do it all. Kids grow up so fast. We just get one chance to give them what they need. So what we give has to be the best. The best help you can give at home has always been Encyclopedia Britannica. It gets kids started on a lasting love of learning, and that makes a big difference in school and in their lives. This booklet will tell you more, and it's free. To get it, just call this toll-free number. Then, when you preview Britannica in your home, you also get this 3-volume desk reference set free. There's no obligation. Look, if we want terrific things to happen for your child, we've got to work together. But right now, all you have to do is make one toll-free call. Oh, there's the bell. Well, I've got a class to teach, and you've got a call to make.
For your free booklet and details on how to receive your 3-volume desk reference set, call toll-free.
You are watching...
Check it out!
Comedy Central.
A very brave Vic Valducci is joined in the Sports Grill right now by my two colleagues, Joe and John.
Thank you, Nick. Welcome to the Sports Grill. I am Joe Bolster, along with my colleague John Heyman, and we are joined today, as Nick mentioned, by embattled ex-Iowa Tech Wildebeest head coach, and I might add, a very good friend of mine, Vic Valducci. Vic, welcome to the Grill.
Joe, good to see you again. John, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Vic.
Appreciate the chance to, give my side of things.
Well, we're happy to give you the forum, Vic, because as you know, allegations are flying, charges have been levied against you.
Joe.
Levied against you, all host of charges. Pick one at random here. This is sort of an odd one. The claim that a student at Iowa Tech, not on the basketball team, but sort of a whiz, mechanically assembled a Scud missile during the war, sold it to Iraq, took the proceeds from the sale, gave the money to you, hoping that that amount of cash would buy him a starting guard spot on the Wildebeest squad. Now that has got to be a crazy misunderstanding.
You're so right, Joe. And you know what cracks me up is you always hear this story and people always blow through the amazing aspect of it. First of all, what an incredible kid.
Yeah.
To be able to go to a 7-Eleven and get the basic materials, assemble a Scud in the dorm room basement. Also, a kid who loves basketball. Willing to go that far, betray his own nation, just get a starting berth on my team. Touched me a hell of a lot. I thought it was fabulous, though wrong.
Yeah.
And I sat him down and I talked to him about it. I said, first of all, look, you're not going to start for me. Number one, because you got the white man's disease, you can't jump. But also, you've done something very wrong. And we got to the bottom of it. We had a good talk, we had a good cry. And, as far as I was concerned, the situation was over. But the media has to pile on, Well, they gotta misunderstand everything.
You never hear that Vic cares about kids. Vic, in his heart, cares about kids. That's what Vic's about, the kids.
It's true.
Am I right?
Yeah. I want you to try and jump up and touch my hand with your head. Can you jump up and do that? Try it right now. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh! See the power, the thrust through that? All right, I'm going to give you the caliper test. Simon says hold your hand out in front of your head. Oh, wow. How old are you?
6.
6 years old. This is very good. Are you familiar with what a letter of intent is? All right. Doesn't matter. All you need to know is, do you like the University of Iowa Tech? Would you like to go to college there for free and play some basketball for them?
Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, take the pen. See the line? Do you know how to write your name? Write your name right there. Can you write your name for me? Go right ahead and do it. Oh, he's a lefty. That's good. He's going to be a power under the paint. Nice.
Well, Vic, did you also point out to that youngster that if he does happen to attend Iowa Tech, that he only has a 0.6 chance of graduating, and that even if he does graduate, there's a very good possibility that he would die? Several of your players, well, they just died, Vic. Let's take a look right now at something a little unfortunate here.
I guess the real tragedy that gets lost in all the accusations that are being hurled at me and my program is that we could have saved Romulus. We could have saved him, but the kid's a Jehovah's Witness, and the fact remains that his religion forbids dowsing. So we're there with buckets of water, ready to douse a kid. He says, I can't. You know, it's like the blood transfusion thing. And yet I'm to blame. You know, it's a funny world. You know, I mean, you know, the word martyr comes to mind, not just Romulus.
We gotta go.
Is it the girls there?
Yeah,
all right.
She's all ready. She's waiting.
Okay, no, that's great. I gotta run. Hi, Ma. See you. Thanks.
Well, there you go.
Boy, that doesn't get any easier. I've seen it, and yet it's always like the first time. I look at that footage, and you know, all I can think of is, these are tragedies, but why am I being blamed for them? You know, a kid bursts into flames, spontaneously combusts. This is my fault? A kid gets a recreational vehicle, maybe from a booster, maybe it's, well, who knows why, puts it on cruise control, goes into the back, makes himself a drink, it goes across a guardrail. This is my fault? You know, these are freakish occurrences. I plead innocence. Come on.
Yeah, just a couple of bad days at Black Rock, get blown out of proportion. Again, I say, let's look at the other side of Vic Valducci, the Vic who cares about the kids of tomorrow.
As I stand here before yous, in these hallowed ivied halls of academe, or acadream, as Vic Valducci has always called it, because there's a whole lot of dreams come to fruitfulness today, here, with you in your mortars and pestles and your fruition, with this whole thing you've started 4 years ago, in the case of my kids, 6, 7 years ago. I kid, but it does bring up a serious point, how it breaks my heart that none of my players are in fact graduating with yous this year.
A sprinter who hailed from Hoboken explained how the record he'd broken. I felt something burning down in my groin and my jockstrap was practically smoking.
Croax kills jock itch fungus. At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, there's an X. Killing those grungy fungi before they get cracking and burning. Go get that can now, or else don't blame Desonex.
Skin is not necessary.
Mrs. Elliott's cooking class emphasizes lighter foods, and since today's lesson is chicken that isn't bland or dry, she'll reach for the tangy Zip of Miracle Whip.
Zip is your vital ingredient.
Kitchen A mixed in honey and mustard. Kitchen B, Italian dressing.
Miracle Whip salad dressing gives poultry zip.
Grilled, baked, and broiled, one lesson was learned by all.
No kitchen is complete without Zip.
To make any chicken taste moist and tender,
reach for the Zip of Miracle Whip.
When you can't decide, when you want a choice, go fish. Yeah. Just take a ride, just raise your voice, go fish.
Choose Long John's batter-dipped fish, lightly breaded fish, and tender chicken flanks. It's all in our great fish and chicken combo, just $2.99.
Long John Silver's, you're gonna get your wish. Go fish, Long John Silver's.
Double your refreshment. Double your enjoyment. Oh, no single gum double freshens your mouth like double mint gum. Double your refreshment. Double your delightment. Oh, no single gum double freshens your mouth like double fresh, double good. Come on and double mint gum.
There's no single gum like it.
You and Vic Valducci, let's start with drug testing, with you know, the urine samples and how Vic Valducci reputedly found ways to bend the rules.
Yeah, bend and break. About 3 hours or 4 hours prior to a game, Vic would, call me on the phone or knock on the office door or just, see me in my hotel room, depending on where we were. And he'd say, "Dougie, it's tea time." And that meant I would have to begin drinking large quantities of iced tea. Just keep ingesting just lots of iced tea. And then once we got close to the game in the locker room, it would be my responsibility to urinate for as many of the players as I could.
Welcome back to Sports Monster. I am Joe Bolster in the Sports Grill, along with my colleague John Heyman and our special guest today, ex-coach Vic Valducci. Now, Vic, we've just seen some damning footage from your ex-assistant coach, Doug Tipper Burns, and I'll tell you, I don't know where you got this bag of protons, but it looks to me like he went to school with Benedict Arnold, if you know what I'm saying, huh?
Very funny, Joe. I'll tell you, I've seen this footage before, and I always remember the same thing when I'm looking at it. Doug Tipper Burns is trying to sell books. He has a book, Rim Job, currently #3 on the New York Times bestseller list. This is sensationalism. This moves product. More power to you, Dougie, but the truth does not lie therein.
The truth indeed, Vic. Let's take a look right now at a piece of film circa 1990 of your recruiting techniques.
Hey, man, sneaker man. Sneaker man. Sneaker man, let's go.
How you doing? How you doing? All right. Okay. All right. How you doing? How you doing? All right. All right. All right. There you go. There you go. Who's got I got a size 10 here. Who needs size 10? I got a lot of Nikes, guys. Nice and easy. Everybody gets Nikes. Hey, come on. You need some Nikes?
You ain't got the pumps. I want the pumps.
No,
no more pumps.
I don't have pumps, but I got the Nikes. Oh, who's this? Is this Tony?
Yeah.
Hey, Tony. The whole movie, huh? You keep this under your, just between you and the coach. All right. Okay, everybody's got sneakers. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Sneaker man.
Sneaker man.
All right, you've done your homework. You've done your homework. Okay, I don't know where you got hold of this footage. Very interesting. First time I've seen it. But looking at it, I'm very proud of what I see here because, I'm going to tell you something. You hear the expression giving back to the community bandied about very emptily a lot. Vic Valducci in this footage is giving things back. Literally, I'm giving stuff to the community. I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud.
That's true. And I used to see you do your motivational speaking.
Yes.
You used to say, well, near the end, coaching and giving are the same word. True and funny at the same time.
Yeah, that is very true. Coach Valducci certainly knew a lot about giving. That's going to be quite evident in this next piece we see. Now, what we're about to view is a videotape made by an Iowa Tech film student of an all-night coaches conference from some years back.
Kadeem's SAT total score is even lower than Linus Sampson's. Linus had a 14 for math and verbal, which I believe he didn't even spell his name right. Apparently, Kadeem had problems. He just put an X on it. Doug, I want you to take care of the personal aspect. If you can get the kid laid, that's great. Right. If you can line up some kind of transportation for him, a recreational vehicle. Pete, I'm going to ask you to work on the whole grade point thing because they're going to be busting us on this one because this kid basically, it's beyond not being able to read and write, Yeah. There's some question about whether he's actually has a full rack of chromosomes. So, I'm going to need you probably to get in touch with Doc Sweeney and see if you can doctor up some kind of a medical file saying he has full chromosome package, the whole what. And you're going to need to take his SATs for him, or an LSAT, whatever you can do, okay? The GRE. If you can just prove that the kid get a pass grade, I think, knock wood. Hell, knock wood. I think we might have something there.
How about that?
I can't believe you roll in this footage, you say it's a student film. What you don't seem to want to mention is the fact this kid is expelled for this film because he poses as a documentary. It was actually a dramatic work, and he brought in master impressionist Mr. Frank Gorshin to do a vocal impersonation. I said not word one of what is contained herein, and yet you're making me take a rep for it. This is not kosher.
A total scam.
Yeah, it's a frame job.
Yeah, it does point out, though, Vic, the stress of high-powered college coaching, and I know that cuts into your family time. And now let me say something personally. I've known this man for years. Nothing is more important to him than his family, John Heyman.
Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up. Family is first. I've often said it.
Yeah, well, maybe by the standards of the Bundy family, but I think you may change your tune, Joe. Why don't you take a look at this tape?
Hello. Hi. Hi. No, we're going long. You know, it's the same thing every year. Huh? No, I won't be able to. No, I cannot. Honey, I know, but I will not be able to because this is make or break time, okay? I know I use that line all the time. I'm sorry, but I will not. I'm gonna put you on hold for a second. Let me just run something like that. Doug, how old are you?
33.
Oh, you got a good 10 years on me. Listen, I've got my wife on hold.
Right.
She's coming down on me because of the hours we've been keeping and the chlamydia. And, I was just wondering. Could you pleasure her?
Tonight?
Yeah.
It's gotta be tonight.
Yeah, because Pete and I can take care of the rest of the board. It would really, you'd be helping me out of a bind.
You want me to run over now?
No, listen, I'll get her back on the horn. I'll say, how about an hour? I send Dougie over, give you a good, whatever, an hour or so. Could you do that?
Yeah.
All right, you're beautiful, You know that?
Well, if you're taping this show at home, freeze frame that. Vic Valducci, speechless. We'll be back with our final segment after we take another glimpse at the tangled web woven by our guest today, Vic Valducci.
Now, I remind you that there's no right or wrong here, Doug, okay? There's no yes or no, right or wrong. Just be yourself, and I need the truth. Would you be willing to hold your hand over an open flame to prove your allegiance to the wildebeest and this coach, Vic Valducci?
Yeah. Yes.
You would?
Yes.
Would you be willing to suffer a cigarette burn on your cheek, marking your ex Zorro, something of that sort, to prove for the rest of your life that you were a wildebeest?
Yeah. Yes.
Would you be willing to allow the head coach of a major basketball program to snake two fingers up your nose, massage your ganglion, and come out?
Yeah.
All right, that's good. You did well. That is beautiful. I love you for that. You did very well. All right.
This program is brought to you by Desonex.
At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, Desonex. Killing those grungy fungi before they get cracking and burning. Go get that can now, or else don't blame Desonex.
Waffles, Mom?
Oh, not for me, dear, no.
They're delicious.
Yes, but look at all that syrup, dear. A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips.
Come on, Mom. Live dangerously.
Living dangerously isn't what's kept me the same size as the day I was married.
This syrup's delicious. Really rich and mapley. Oh, and it's light.
Light?
Log Cabin Light syrup, Mom. Half the calories.
Log Cabin Syrup's irresistible maple flavor for more than 100 years.
An earnest young singer named Headley interrupted his usual medley. A fire in my pants. Ooh, it feels like red ants, and it's leaving my crotch looking redly.
Croex kills jock itch fungus.
If your idea of savings is to put your money in a bank, wake up to the 1990s and the Dreyfus 100% U.S. Treasury Money Market Fund. The one and only 100% invested in U.S. Treasuries. Treasuries, the safest investment of all. Now, consider income. If you pay state and local taxes on your bank income, you don't with Dreyfus 100% U.S. Treasury. This unique fund delivered income higher, considerably higher than bank money market accounts. Even higher in a state with income tax. Call 1-800-544-1574 for today's yield, a prospectus. Checking? Oh, free checking. This is Dreyfus. Save a better way with Uncle Sam and the only Treasury money fund free of state and local tax in 49 states. Sorry, Tennessee. Call 1-800-544-1574 and say it's Dreyfus U.S. for us.
Have you heard about the Vic Valducci scandal?
Yes, I have.
And
yes, I have.
Do you have a reaction about it?
I think he's utterly ridiculous.
He reminds me of the politicians in New York.
I hate him.
You hate him. If you could talk to him right now, talk him to the camera, what would you tell him?
Clean up your act.
I can't understand why they're bothering this guy.
You think it's media harassment?
I think mostly it is. The papers, you know, they get out of hand all the time with this Valducci thing. It's just blowing it out of proportion, I think.
I think it's a shame. It's a terrible shame.
What would be your advice to Vic Valducci if you could talk to him right now?
Never give up, never die.
I tell him to run for office.
Don't sweat it. Take it easy.
Do you have a reaction to the Vic Valducci scandal?
I'm from Romania. Yes.
You're from Romania?
Yes, Bucharest.
I think he's really disgraced the entire university and the college sports programs.
Vic, stay cool. Love you, babe.
Vic, we've been through so much, and our friendship has been so strong for so many years. I'm sorry for what you perceive as my betraying you, but do what you have to. Get some help, heal, make yourself better, find yourself again, Vic. You know, please.
Welcome back to Sports Monster. I'm Joe Bolster, along with John Heyman, and our very special guest today, Coach Vic Valducci. Now, you've just heard John Q. Doe talk about Vic, and some final thoughts from me. Vic, I guess it's no secret that in your heyday, you were known as the Joe Bolster of college coaching. And when you talk about a Joe Bolster and a Vic Valducci, you're talking about two guys who have been to the top of Sports Mountain. And let me tell you, when a Joe Bolster or a Vic Valducci takes that big gondola ride to the top, that's when the critics start coming out of the Woolworth. You know, the 250 hitters, the sub-500 coaches, the frustrated Joe six-pack columnists with a word processor, never even played the game. And they started in with a nitpicking. Hey, what about the cash for kids? What about the 16-year-old Chippy at halftime? What about the $2 million house on a $50,000 salary? Well, Vic, if it all starts to get you down, you just do what I do. Just think about Jesus. Not a tremendous athlete, but one of the all-time great caterers in history. You can look it up. And look what they did to him.
Mr. Valducci, if you'll excuse my saying so, is fetid reptile vomit. No offense. And it's about time he got his just desserts. Not just for what he did to college basketball, not just for what he did to the state of Iowa, but for consuming valuable oxygen that should be used by humans. Vic, I want to thank you for being our guest today.
Boy, how tempting it is right now to just ask, why don't you like me? But I have something to say. Maybe Vic Valducci let you down. Maybe. All right. But it was a Vic Valducci who found kids. Maybe they didn't have the greatest grade parent average, but it was Vic Valducci who said, can you play the game of basketball? Maybe we can get you a partial phys ed degree. Vic Valducci, a man who is not a hero. He's human. He's made mistakes. Mistakes that he knows can never be repaired. But if there's anything Vic Valducci can do to undo the hurt, anything, it will be done. I've learned my lesson, and I swear this is the last time you will ever catch Vic Valducci doing anything wrong.
Vic, mea culpa.
Thank you, Joey. Thank
John Heyman, Joe Bolster in the Sports Grill with Coach Valducci. Nick, back to you.
Voting members of the Pulitzer Prize Committee, stay tuned for an address where you can reach Sports Monster. For all of us here, this is Nick Bakay. We'll see you next time. Boy, that was... well, I'm glad that's over.
You came through nice over there.
You think so?
You know who you remind me of a little bit today? Ollie North.
Oh, gee.
You know, hero.
Joe, thanks, honey, and you were a big help. And John,
good to see you again.
Gave me the business, but good to meet you.
No, thanks.
Oh, come on, John. Don't worry about him.
Hey, it's just amazing.
He's one of these gloomy, you know, Gary types.
Gloomy gazelle.
Yeah, glasses,
I know
4/8. Empty.
I could tell when I said that he was going to be trouble.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Hey, you come to the stadium tonight? You going to see the ball game?
Oh, sure, I'll see you there.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll look for you in my box.
Hey.
Oh, Joey. Sit hi, buddy.
My old buddy Tony. Oh, Tony,
He's
jeez.
working here a little bit. Said to say hey.
All right, listen, Joe, excuse me.
Excuse me, what's your name?
Darryl Jones.
Coach Vic Valducci. Good to meet you.
Coach
Have a seat. I know
Valducci?
you got a job. Have a seat. I want to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, how tall are you?
6'9".
6'9". I had a feeling. 6'9", 6'9 and a half. Have you attended college?
Yes, I did.
Well, we can fix that. Do you play the game of basketball?
Yeah, I dabble in it.
You dabble in it?
Yeah.
You're a Nick fan?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Nick?
Mark Jackson.
Funny you should say Mark Jackson. I have a quarter interest of a trout fund that I share with Mark. I could introduce you to him.
Really?